This is the Iowa Weather Report for Sunday, March the 3rd, 2013. And now our first look at the 0Z GFS Model Run. This is at noon today. We have the trough over the eastern third of the country and a storm system moving into the northern Rockies over Montana and Idaho. And that's the storm system we're going to be watching over the next few days. It'll be bringing a bit of snow even ahead of that storm over the Dakotas and into western Iowa by late in the afternoon mainly, but increasing clouds elsewhere with highs mainly in the 30s to lower 40s. Monday, the storm moves in with a bit of snow, be fairly light except maybe a little bit of moderate snow over the northeastern counties with a wintry mix over the south, and maybe a bit of rain along the Iowa-Missouri border. And then Tuesday, that low moves off to the south and east. We have the upper level feature over northwestern Minnesota or northwestern Missouri. So some snow will continue at least into Tuesday and Tuesday night. When we look at the probabilities of snowfall, this is from Sunday evening to Tuesday evening. This is the probability of seeing at least 2 inches of snow over that 48-hour period. It looks pretty good in the entire state except the far southwestern counties of Iowa. When we bump it to 4 inches of snow or more, probabilities are still better than 50%. In the area where the winter storm watch is in effect, mainly in northern, northeastern, and eastern parts of the state. And then when we bump it up to 8 inches of snow or more, the probabilities are about 40 to 50%, mainly across the northeastern about quarter of the state, and up into Minnesota and North Dakota. And then when we bump it up to a foot of snow, and we have to think about this because there may be a chance that somebody could get this, the probabilities are about 20 to 30%, mainly in northeast Iowa into southeastern Minnesota. Could there be some isolated totals to that? Possibly. Now, this is looking at the NAM. This is through Wednesday morning at 6 a.m., and this has been way north of all of the other runs. This shows almost all the snow in Wisconsin and Minnesota with just a few inches into northeastern Iowa. And this is the GFS through the same time period, 6 a.m. Wednesday morning, and this shows the snow about 50 to 75 miles southwest of where the NAM had it, with about the same snowfall amounts of about 6 to maybe 10 inches in the eastern and northeastern counties. Going back to the GFS and back to Wednesday, that storm is now along the North Carolina coast and the Virginia Tidewater. Skies will be clearing. Temperatures will likely be in the 30s, mainly low 30s with the snow cover, but temperatures warm back up. Thursday, we could see highs back nearing 40, so snow will be melting, and that could be a bit messy with a lot of the roads getting a lot of water and then refreezing at night. And then Friday, still fairly warm. Winds not as strong as they will be on Thursday, though, with highs in the upper 30s in areas where there's a lot of snow to lower to middle 40s elsewhere. And then Saturday, to start off the next weekend, we have a little bit of a disturbance moving through that could spark a few sprinkles or showers or maybe a bit of wintry precipitation with the 540 line right along and north of Highway 20. And then a week from today, next Sunday, we have an upper level feature over Texas and New Mexico, and a flow coming out of the north and west, mainly missing the state, so we're kind of like in a sweet spot of seeing absolutely nothing. A high pressure nearby, and it'll be warm. Temperatures likely at this point in the 40s with some showers and maybe even some thunderstorms down in Oklahoma and into Texas and even southwestern Kansas. A couple days after that, on March the 14th, zonal flow, west to east, a quick moving flow, some energy in the eastern Great Lakes into the mid-Atlantic and northeast, an upper level feature off the Canadian Pacific coast, and some rain and snow well off to our west, well, not well off to our west, just over the plains and up into the northern Rockies, and some snow over New England, with temperatures a little cooler at that point. And then at the end of the forecast on the 18th, we have a broad trough over the east, a bit of a ridge over us, but a fairly flat ridge at that. Storm off the east coast, storm well off the west coast. And if this is right, we could have the Gulf opening up, and we could have some rain showers and maybe a clap of thunder in the plains, mainly in the central and southern plains, and a storm off the east coast, some snow in New England, and nothing much around here with average temperatures. Satellite image from last evening, some low clouds over the east, brought a little bit of snow activity down into the south, especially in Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee, but the storm off to our west is the storm we have to watch through the northern Rockies and into the Pacific coast. The watch warning map from last evening, freeze warnings over Georgia and along the Gulf Coast, some red flag warnings in Texas and New Mexico, winter storm watches and warnings from Iowa northwestward, and some over the northern Rockies and the Colorado Rockies as well. QPF chart, precipitation over the next 5 days through Thursday evening at 6 o'clock, showing some decent amounts of precipitation around here, maybe a quarter to maybe a little over 3/4 of an inch, mainly in the form of some snow.